right, welcome to the next webinar here for the Multifamily Investor Nation. If you have not heard about us before, we are an online educational virtual training platform for multifamily investors specifically. We have our podcast, which is a #1 podcast on iTunes for the term multifamily. So if you pull up your iPhone, type in the word multifamily under the podcast app, we are #1 on there. I've been #1 for almost a year now, which is really exciting. And on that podcast, we dive really deep into how people are acquiring deals. We don't just interview a bunch of experts on our podcast. We interview real, everyday, in the trenches investors who are closing deals. And we try to release a one episode every single week, usually on Mondays, so that you can continue to learn from other people and how they are closing deals. We also have these webinars, which are posted on our YouTube channel once they are done and recorded. We also have our closed Facebook group and also our LinkedIn content and presence. If you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can certainly do that. I have an easy way for you to do that. You can just go to linkwithdan.com. So for those of you who are joining us live, I will type that in to the chat box here for you, so you can easily click on that and connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place for people in the multifamily industry to be able to connect with other multifamily investors. So if you are not on LinkedIn yet, shame on you. You should go there right now, register for LinkedIn, connect with me, and start to follow other people in the multifamily space. I'm one of the managing partners of this group called PassiveInvesting.com. And you can, if you want to find out more about me, you can go to this website, PassiveInvesting.com, and click on the Meet the Team link right here. And you can see our team here as we continue to grow. My information is right here. You can just click on my name, and there's a nice video that we made for you. I do, like I said earlier, I live here in Columbia, South Carolina. I think I mentioned that before I pressed the record button, but I live in and work here in Columbia, South Carolina, along with my wife and our 4 children. We have 3 girls and a boy. Ages range from 10 years all the way down to 3 years. So it's a very busy household right now, but very exciting times as we continue to see our children grow up as well, and also teaching them about cash flow and assets and depreciation and all the kind of things that we do from an investing perspective. If you want to find out more information about us, there's on our Knowledge Center. We have lots of information in here on our blogs about various topics that we write about every single month. So there's one popular one here called the Red Flags for Passive Apartment Investing. It's been probably one of our most popular articles that I've written. So if you want to check that out, you can. For those of you who are joining us live, I'll type that into the chat box here so you can have it. And then the other folk that are on there, if you want to do it, you can certainly do that as well. If you want to join us on one of our future acquisitions, you can do that by clicking on the top right-hand corner, that blue button that says Join the Passive Investing Club. And one of our team members will jump on a phone call with you, discuss your investment goals, to make sure that our group is the right fit for you. So with all that said, let's dive into this webinar today and talk about, here's actually the summit website. So you can go to mfinsummit.com. This was the one from January 2021, but we have another event coming up in June 10th, 11th, and 12th of 2021. So you can still go to mfinsummit.com and find out more information about that. And we'll have this page right here updated since we just finished up our January summit just a few days ago. So today on the webinar, we're going to be talking about how to acquire millions in apartment syndication, because we're going to be talking about how to build your team so that you can acquire millions in apartment syndication. So we're going to talk about the key roles and responsibilities that are in a syndication group. What are the different methods to building your team, how to find partners, and then some interview tips and tricks that we have used to be able to find solid team members, not necessarily just partners, but also other people in your team that will support you. We have a great team behind us, a phenomenal team, and they have done an amazing job with everything so far, and they really make us look good as a group. And so I'm going to teach you some of the things that we have done that might be able to help you be able to level up your game as well. Now, before I get started, I will tell you this is going to be a rather short webinar. So we're going to be talking for probably about 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes. I'm not sure I'll have a lot of time for questions and answers. So what I would like for you to do, if you have questions about the topic today, is I want you to go to our Facebook group. And if you have not joined it yet, make sure that you do it. You can go to facebook.com/groups/multifamily investor nation. For those of you who are watching the recording, for those of you who are watching live, I typed it into the chat box there for you. And you do have to apply to join. We have over 7,000 members that interact on a daily basis. And it'd be great for you to be able to connect there. But I want you to ask some questions inside of the private group that we have created for the Multifamily Investor Nation so that we can connect and connect later. All right. So what are some of the key roles and responsibilities? So one of the things that I think is very important and is vital for you as a syndicator, as you're getting started, is that you have to make sure that when you try to find, first, we're going to talk about partners instead of maybe your team outside of your partners. The first, set of roles that you have to fill are your partners, right? Who are you going to align yourself with that will allow you to be able to grow and allow you to be able to scale, right? And for me, what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to find somebody that I could actually partner with, that I could partner with for the long term. I've interviewed many, many people, and one of the things that I've found is that partnerships never work. And I say never lightly, but they only work if you do them and set them up the right way. And so when you're creating a partnership, you want to make sure that you don't find somebody else to be your partner in business like this that is like you. Okay. And the tendency is to find somebody that likes things that you do and to want to partner with them because you like the same things or you like doing the same things. But that's not good for business. And the reason why is because let's say you like to do underwriting. Okay. You love the spreadsheets. You love to look at the rent roll, the T12 and, the pro formas and put them all together. And really you just love that aspect of it. Well, if you find somebody else that's the same as you and they love the underwriting, right? They love putting the spreadsheets together. They like doing looking at the T12 and the rent roll and merging all that data together. The problem is that you guys are going to butt heads, right? So you're going to like to do underwriting one way. They're going to want to do it another way, and you're going to butt heads. Now, you might try to come with some sort of compromise, but eventually you're going to continue to butt heads over and over and over again, and the partnership is going to fail. And so my challenge to you is that when you're finding partners to partner with, find people that do things and like things that you don't necessarily like to do. It doesn't mean you don't necessarily, it doesn't mean that you don't necessarily know how to do them. So for example, I know how to do underwriting, but I delegate that to Danny and his expertise, right? So he does all of our underwriting, our financial due diligence. He works with our attorney and our lenders and the closing side of things. And he also works with all the asset management side of things. So that's what he's really good at. Brandon, on the other hand, on our team, he likes to do the construction side of things and the acquisitions and the broker relationships and touring properties and doing pre-LOI inspections and all that kind of stuff. I know how to do both of Brandon and Danny's job. I just don't like to do it. So I found them to be able to help us as a group at passiveinvesting.com to be able to grow, right? And when I say I found them, we found each other, right? So it wasn't necessarily like, one person found this person, that person found that person. We all came together as a team after we started talking to each other about the different skill sets that we had. And it's really, for us, has been a great differentiator in roles and responsibilities. And I also, in my red flags list for passive apartment investing, I also talk about how with these red flags for passive apartment investing, one of the red flags is you want to make sure that you, as a passive investor, you're not investing with somebody else that there's only one partner. Because I've had situations in the past that I know from other people where they have tried to partner with other people, or they've tried to invest passively with another group. But guess what? That particular group only had one partner. And because they only had one partner, that partner fell off the face of the earth somehow. They can't communicate with them. They can't get a hold of them. I mean, it's possible that that operator just went down to Mexico and then, I don't know if they didn't steal the money because all the money was still there. The property was still there. The cash flow was still there. The bank accounts were still there, but maybe they went down to Mexico on vacation or, Germany, and then somehow got in a car accident and died, right? And nobody knows about it. So when there's only one partner, it opens you up to some additional liability and risks that are associated with it. So to me, with my wife and I on our investing, we choose not to invest with operators where there's only one partner. We want to make sure that there's multiple partners so that if one partner can't get a hold of them, we can't get a hold of the one partner, we have at least one or two other partners we can reach. So the key roles and responsibilities are going to be your investor relations and your marketing. The second kind of role and responsibilities, I want to say second. So I'm going to list out all the roles and responsibilities, and you can have two people do all these things and separate them, or you can have 3 or 4 or 5, right? I think 3, obviously with our group, passiveinvesting.com, 3 is a great number. So you don't have too many cooks in the kitchen, but you also have enough people in the kitchen that you have a lot of, you can diversify some of the roles and responsibilities. So the way we split it up is there's the marketing and the investor relations. Then there is the stuff that Danny does, the financial due diligence, the financial underwriting. He's doing he's working with the attorneys. He's working with the lenders. He oversees our asset management division with our director of asset management. And then you have the other side of it, which is the acquisition side. So the person who's working on increasing deal flow, entering additional markets, and also working with the property management company to create pro formas and CapEx budgets for renovations that have to happen on a property, and also being able to do those kind of pre-LOI inspections. So that's kind of the gamut of roles and responsibilities that you need to make sure that you have in place. Now, could you hire people to do some of these things? Yes, absolutely. But as you're getting started, guess what? You're going to have to do all of these things, right? And so that's what we had to do as well. All 3 of us as a group did all of these 3 things in the very beginning, all ourselves. So we all now know how to do each one of them. But now that we've closed lots of properties, or growing rapidly, we are now using those asset management fees that we're collecting off of our assets to continue to hire additional team members to grow our team, right? So one of the things that I did to be able to build our team is I just started talking to people, right? I wasn't necessarily going around saying, hey, Brandon, I'm looking for a partner. Are you the right fit, right? I didn't go to Danny and say that. He didn't come to me or whatever. I just started talking to everybody and anybody about what I was doing with multifamily. And oddly enough, Brandon actually goes to my church. So we both go to the same church here. He's married and has 4 children. I'm married and have 4 children. And his youngest daughter is actually my oldest daughter's best friend, right? And so we already had a life connection, but I just started talking to him about what we were doing. And guess what? A month later, after me having that conversation with him, we were now partners. And it's been a great ride ever since we've actually joined up. And then shortly thereafter, Danny came along and joined our team as well. And Danny, I actually found through our mentor. So we had a mutual mentor. We were both mentees of the same person we were getting coaching and mentoring from. And they connected us because we were close proximity geographically. He's in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. We met up and it was a great fit. So my suggestion to you is be networking. Right now with COVID, it's a little bit more challenging, but you should be going to events like these virtual events that we just hosted last week, the MFIN Summit. That MFIN Summit was very vital for a lot of people. That we actually used a new platform online a new app called the Hoover app. And that Hoover app allowed for a tremendous amount of networking opportunities throughout the actual event itself. And even now, so that app actually stays active for 6 months. So those people that registered for that event get access to all the recordings, they get access to the networking for the next 6 months. And then, of course, when we do our next event, coming up in June of this year, there'll be some additional opportunities for networking and being able to connect with other people. But you must be going to these various real estate events to be able to connect and network with other people. That way you can try to find and talk to people to help to build out your team, right? Now, I will encourage you to do this too. Right now, when you are trying to do these virtual events, make sure that your technology is in order. Make sure that you have a good webcam, right? These webcams are not that expensive, right? Let me just see if I can switch this over for you real quick. You can make it really nice and fancy, but I have these 2 camera angles, but I have this one camera right here on my screen, okay? And you can also use the audio from that as well. This is just a standard Logitech 1080p. And then I have a microphone. And this microphone is an Audio-Technica ATR 2100 USB. Just connects from the microphone straight into my computer. But if you can have a great microphone and you have a great a camera, that will make your networking opportunities when you're doing it virtually be just even better, right? So make sure that you do that. Make sure you take some time to spend a little money, like $100 or less. You can get probably that camera and this. Maybe, I don't know exactly the cost, maybe 150, somewhere around in there. But go on Amazon, go to Best Buy, go there and search for these items and get them as soon as you can. Because one of the things that we did at our MFI and Summit is we had a VIP networking room that we had opened up all 3 days. And it allowed people who bought a VIP ticket to have a special room opened up for them. And people during the breaks were coming in and out of this room and being able to network with other people. And it is important to have that presence of having a good quality camera and having a good quality microphone. It's almost like getting dressed in the morning when you're in the hotel room, going down to network with other people. You want to make sure that you got your nice sport coat on, get your nice button down shirt, you have a nice pair of jeans or slacks on, nice pair of shoes, and you look well cut, hair's cut, things like that. Do the same thing for a virtual event, because that's how you're going to be able to connect with people. Let me talk to you a little bit about a couple of things we've done from interview tips and tricks, and I might be able to get to one or two questions in here as well. Let's see. Interview tips and tricks. So, and this interview tips and tricks is more in line for when you're trying to hire on other team members outside of your partners, right? Now, it's still some strategies that you could use for your partners, but hopefully you have enough relationship with your partners before you bring them on as a partner that you don't necessarily need to use some of these different options. But one of the things that we do to find ours is there's actually a website if you wanted to find real estate related jobs. You can. This is actually how we found our director of asset management. Right. It's actually a unique resource. Not a lot of people actually know about it, but it's this website called selectleaders.com. And maybe you're thinking, hey, maybe I want to get into the real estate game, right? Well, you can register for this website and find jobs that people in the real estate industry are looking for. It's called selectleaders.com. We have used this to be able to find people to be able to work with us, right? And I would highly encourage you to register for this and use this as a resource. We've also, for other positions, used Indeed. And so a lot of you are familiar with Indeed. And Indeed is basically an online job platform. And one of the problems, though, with a platform like Indeed is that you can get inundated with a bunch of people that are unqualified for your position. And so my suggestion is to give people instructions on what to do to apply for the job. And if they don't follow those instructions to apply for the job, then don't take them down the line of interviewing them. And then finally, what we do before we actually bring them in for an interview is we'll have them take a test called the Wonderlic test. Now, the Wonderlic test is a pre-employment question, is a pre-employment kind of questionnaire. And the nice thing about it is this is actually the website here, wonderlic.com, WONDERLIC, wonderlic.com. And it actually gives a 1 score, right? That's what this is. This is see the 1 score. Obviously, this might be for a demo here. I'm not going through this whole process with you here. But this is a software that we have used that has allowed us to be able to test our candidates before we actually bring them in and interview them. This is not the end all be all. So I will tell you that this is a tool that we use to kind of have a little bit more insight into the cognitive ability, the personality ability, and also the motivation score of the prospective employee. And it also allows you to get a score of how well matched they are for that position based on the position that you tell them that you're hiring for. So if you're hiring for a salesperson, if you're hiring for an investor relations person or a marketing person or design person or whatever position you're looking for, you can type it in there and it'll tell you how well matched they are with that particular position and what would be like the success rate, right, of that particular position. So it's another great resource that we have used to be able to make sure that we make the right hires the first time. We're still not perfect. I wish there was something I can say is just perfect. And every time we use this one thing, we always hire the best people. But it's not always the case. So there's going to always be certain situations where you might not hire the right person and you have to go through that process. But this will help reduce the number of times you make those mistakes, which will be really important for you as well. All right. So I have about 3 minutes left. So I have a couple of questions that have come in here, and I'll try to answer these as best I can. Let's see. David Robinson is asking here, is there one specific person that focuses on acquisitions, or do you all spend time sourcing deals, networking with brokers? No, absolutely not. We do not all spend time doing the same thing. That would be not a good use of our time. So we have one person on our team, and his primary focus is sourcing the next deal. He's focused on acquisitions, and that is one of our partners, Brandon Abbott. He's our director of acquisitions. He's also, because we're expanding into several different markets, he is actually hiring on right now an acquisitions associate. And so he will have somebody that'll be working underneath him in that role, but he is in charge of that particular piece of our syndication business. Go to the question up here. Who were you mentored by, if you don't mind me asking? No, Amanda, I don't have a problem with that at all. So my mentor, even right now to this day, is Joe Fairless, and he has been a phenomenal mentor. He is no longer mentoring anymore in the space. He has closed down his mentorship program because he has continued to grow. He's actually over $1 billion in assets under management, and I suspect he will grow even faster, even in 2021, and acquiring more and more deals in the multifamily space. But if I was not coaching with Joe at this time, honestly, I would probably be coaching with Mark Kinney with Think Multifamily. So if you're interested in getting some coaching or mentoring, I would highly recommend you reaching out to them. And his name is Mark Kinney with Think Multifamily. So I always have enjoyed conversations and interactions with him. This is his website here, thinkmultifamily.com. If you are joining us live, I'll type into the chat box for you. So if you wanted to jump on that website, thinkmultifamily.com, you can certainly do that. All right, so let's go back to this next question in here. Dan, we would like to sponsor and be an exhibitor for your next event. Great. Chandra, I'd love for you to sponsor our next event. You would need to email Melissa, Melissa, at passiveinvesting.com, and she can get you the details for the next event that's coming up so that you can sponsor that event. So I would really be glad to have you honor that as well. So good to have you on here, Chandra, as well. Last question I'm going to ask here. Let's see. Don't you think people can game the answers to that? They know what you're looking for and answer accordingly. Well, the line of questioning, Derek, in that pre-employment questionnaire is not so that they can actually, quote unquote, cheat, right? Now they can have somebody else take it, right? But usually this system is pretty good about picking that stuff up. It's also a timed exam. So this is something that is a test that is even used by the NFL. The NFL uses this to test their players. So it is a very elite program that is a very beneficial tool that, again, it's not foolproof, but it definitely gives you an extra kind of leg up, if you will, when it comes to your hiring process. I told you it was going to be a little bit of a shorter webinar today, so I do apologize for cutting it just a little bit short. I do appreciate each one of you being here and participating with the webinar. Next week, let me see what next week entails. Actually, I think we might even have another one this week. So let me pull up the webinar page here and tell you what the next topic is. Yes, we actually have another event this week. It's actually going to be on Thursday, another webinar. And we're going to be having guest Trevor McGregor on, and he's going to be talking about how to set and achieve goals. So this is going to, let me see if I can share my screen here one more time so you can actually see this page here. So here is the landing page for it. I will message all of those of you who are on here live for the next webinar. It's just coming up. You can register for this right now if you'd like. It's how to set goals and how to achieve goals as a real estate investor. And Trevor McGregor is a master at that. As a matter of fact, he is the brains behind the mindset of Joe Fairless. So Joe Fairless has actually been mentoring with Trevor McGregor since the very beginning, even before his podcast. And so I'll be joining you there as well. And Trevor will be there at the same time. So look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Hope you have a good rest of your week. And we'll be back in just a few days.